Welcome to Cybersecurity District, the podcast where we interview the most inspiring minds in the cybersecurity industry. Get ready to meet our next guest in the district. Today we're joined by two incredible entrepreneurs, Niek Waarbroek, CTO and founder, and Tycho Klessens, CEO of Florbs.io. Florbs focuses on file security for Google Drive and has quickly made its mark in the cybersecurity industry. Recently, they raised 1 million euros in funding to further accelerate their growth and their impact. We will dive into their entrepreneurial journeys, their partnership, and their exciting future of their company. So let's start by getting to know these gentlemen first. Niek, let's start with you. As the founder and the CTO of Florbs, what inspired you to start the company? What problem were you aiming to solve?
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of struggle of automating administrative tasks like onboarding and offboarding people in Google Workspace, basically. And suddenly it became big data, and how do you get control of that data? So,
And what were the problems you
well,
saw?
onboarding is an human task which can create a lot of error. So if that isn't going correct, you get friction for new people, new employees who are hired, and their onboarding phase is really crappy. They start to struggle in the first week, and we know 82% of new employees decide in the first week if they're going to stay with that company or not. So we wanted to make that as smooth as possible, and automate all those tasks.
Yeah. Now, interesting. As a Google Workspace user myself, I can relate to that a lot. But what was the first step in turning your idea into reality? So you saw something you wanted to further optimize. But what steps did you take to really go into starting a business around this?
Yeah, I was a business consultant and a Google Cloud partner, and I saw many customers struggling with the same problem. And I created custom scripts for that customers, and I decided, well, this could be a product. So I said to my companion at that time, we need to take this to a product. It's we need to help those people.
Yeah. And it sounds almost arrogant that you think I can further optimize Google processes. I can help them become more secure. Is that really necessary in the market?
Yeah, well, I think Google isn't that fine-grained, I would say. We really wanted to make processes as easy as possible for end users who act with our product. And also, not everyone has access to the admin portal of Google. So it's more, for example, if you have email signatures underneath your email, that's probably an HR or a marketing thing, and not an admin thing. And we really wanted to provide the control over signatures to the people who for the marketing department, for example.
Yeah. And it sounds like you come more from an admin side then. And over the years, you transform more and more also looking into the cybersecurity aspect of that.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
If customers have a long time on Google, they start offboarding people. And when you offboard people, what are you going to do with that data? So we created archive accounts, and suddenly if you offboarded 200 people or so, you have a lot of data in one account. And all those files are still shared. And you have no idea who the files are shared with. So we decided we need to solve that problem as well.
Yeah. This really speaks to me as well, because I also run a team, so I have multiple users. But then there's some point you have to say, okay, deactivate account.
Yeah.
And that's super nerve-wracking also because you have a Google Drive file. I think a couple of years ago, I deleted somebody, but permanently, and all the drive files that person made were also erased. And that was really valuable. But I thought, okay, for security purposes, let's just make sure everybody's completely out, deactivate, yes. But it really, bit me in the ass, kind of.
Yeah, and there are other aspects as well, because if you disable people, you still have sign-in cookies and all kind of active sessions which stay active, and we set those cookies as well. So in our offboarding flow, we really make sure that user isn't able to access anything anymore.
Yeah, but have you seen examples where former employees were still able to get access to company documents?
Yeah. And one of the biggest thing is former employees normally share their information with their private accounts. So there's always a big thing. But on the other hand, you have recovery email addresses. So if you offboard people, you probably want to have an out of office in place, because, I'm not working here anymore, and please contact blah, blah. And if you want to do that, you can disable their account. So you need to have that account active. And if you don't remove the recovery information, an old employee can recover that account.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And maybe the old employee still has access, right? So that's what we saw. One of our bigger customers, the former procurement director, still had access to his account, and he was working for a competitor. And during the demo we gave them, we saw that this guy was luring in the old files to see, hey, what were the bits, right? We placed at my former employee, and probably he used it for the competitor. So that's also where you dive in from automation into the security aspect, where you really want to be secure on where does your data and files end up.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then Google does not really go into the finer details of this. So of course they do this for maybe hundreds, perhaps a billion users. So you guys really go into the depth with Florbs.
Yeah. We really have fine-grained control, so you can really laser point a file or a specific, and you can act on those insights.
Yeah. No, incredible. Nice that you started from the admin side, and eventually the main product and offering is then actually a security feature. And I was wondering, Niek, I've had a lot of founders here on the podcast, a lot of different companies, but it's always related the name something with security. And then I heard about Florbs, and I was like, Florbs, okay, I want to know more about it. So it's kind of catchy, but for me, it doesn't ring a bell with cybersecurity. Yeah. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We wanted a catchy name, of course, and we started with putting names in a sheet and let the company vote on which name was the best. But in the end, we had all kind of names, and not really one name stood out. So I asked a colleague, "Don't you know a name?" And he just pops up, Florbs, and we thought, not sure. But we put it in the list, and we did some research. There was nothing to be found on Florbs, and actually it's quite sketchy. It's there's no negative around that word. So and in I believe it was the Urban Dictionary, but don't know for sure anymore. But it's like fluid ops, and that really makes sense, because we are the fluid going through all systems, and ops are the systems. Gathering data and put that data together and analyze those data and put it in some great insights.
Yeah, because I see the logo also resembles a bit of Fluent. Yeah.
And it's quite brilliant, right? There's nothing online written about Florbs. So if you're the first to write about it, your SEO is going to go up immensely. So that's what we see as well, right? With very, very limited to no marketing budget last year, our marketeer, who's also a product owner and customer success, so she has a very busy job, she managed to create an insane influx of traffic on our website. And again, it's we were a team of 4, and if you look at only those numbers, that's really impressive. And the name is very big aspect in generating those leads as well.
Yeah, but would people then Google Florbs, or would they Google Drive, Google File Security?
So both. Also, certain policies which you wanna, like how delete data, how do you revoke access to certain files, and do that in bulk. Because again, what we were discussing, right? In the Google console, it is more or less a black box for most organizations. You need to have a large IT or security department, write your own scripts, and then you can do bits and pieces. And I think what Niek really, Niek is a humble guy, so I'm going to be less humble for him. Niek is one of the 39 Google developer experts in the world on Workspace. So it's quite a niche, but meaning that he gets a credit from Google every year that he's an expert in this field, outside of the Google environment, right? Or outside of the Google workforce. And that's, I think, the beauty of the tool, where it's you can see it on a high level. So how many files do you have in your whole environment? And then narrow it down. So how many files did I share with Niek? Okay. How many files are then confidential? Okay. What are these files? Can I list them down? How many of these files have been shared with more people than only Niek? And narrowing it down and then going to the source of that file. So it's like the whole process, or let's say the whole depth of the hierarchy of the file structure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My mind is spinning now, and I'm just thinking, like, is what you guys do, is it not on the radar for Google? Like, you guys are in a good flow. You recently raised also a lot of capital, so it is something that clients are willing to pay for. But then I wonder, is it not for Google smart to onboard you and then the software that you created, or work with Niek as one of the best outside Googlers?
I think the future will tell, but what we see is Google wants to check all the boxes, that they want to be compliant and all kind of stuff like that. But we want to have really fine-grained controls, really in-depth controls. And that's where we really focus on, and also make it super easy to understand and impactful. One of the important things I want to accomplish in our app is that users really can trust on the actions they do, because actions you do are really impactful. You can basically unshare all files in the whole domain, and nobody can collaborate anymore.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. But what we did, for example, is an impact analyzer. So you can set your criteria. In the end, that will result in a certain amount of files where we do remove anyone with the link access, for example. And you have a step in between, so you can really see what is going on and what we are going to do, and then decide, yes, that's okay or not. Yeah. You can also undo it. So if you have the wrong action, we are able to undo that action as well.
In a safe and secure manner.
Yeah. Maybe to add on that, right? Google wants to do the same as we want. I think that's a logical question, and everyone asks it. Two things. We are live on the Google Cloud Marketplace, meaning that Google is more or less selling our product on their marketplace. I think that's already putting us out there. And the other thing is, Google is a cloud collaboration platform, right? So a lot of people, or a lot of my friends say, yeah, Google's going to copy this. Of course they can, right? Everyone can copy it with enough development power, etc. But the question is, what's the purpose of Google, right? They want to create a collaborative environment on the cloud. Well, we're one part of the puzzle for them, where we stimulate their workspace product, or how we make it hopefully a bit better, where you say, okay, we take control of the security of that small part of your organization, which is big enough, right? It's very big, and it's a very big problem. So I think that's adding to the Google vibes as well.
You see the same for other tools as well, like Okta and identity access management via Google can be an IDP as well. But they don't do it because they want to focus on the collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah, you just enhance their product. So
Yeah.
it's only nice for them to have you around.
Well, there's a risk, right? If you look at DocuSign, now you have your e-signature also within a Google Workspace. So we don't use DocuSign anymore, only if it's like you need to go to the notary. They still, because for other reasons. But yeah, e-signature is fine for now. And it's within your Workspace license. So it's also free, right? It's also, for a young startup, that's quite nice to have free tools as well.
So Niek, you started as a sole entrepreneur and things were going quite okay, but maybe not the enormous jump that you were looking to seek. And I think at some point you decide to start raising capital, but perhaps also look for a co-founder. Can you tell us more about that journey?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wanted to have a good basis. So the first 3 years, we really built that basic product. And then it is ready to scale, basically. So we start fundraising, and now we did a lot of pitches, and one of the pitches was with Tycho. He was on the other side at that moment.
An angry investor.
Yeah.
Never angry.
And suddenly all things changed. So maybe you can pick it over.
Yeah, so I was introduced actually by a work friend who works at Google, and he approached me with WhatsApp, and he said, "Hey, Tig, listen up. You need to talk to these guys. Yeah, the name is not that sexy. We already talked about it. It's called Florbs, the startup, but their CTO is like a brilliant guy. Right? You need to have a chat with him." So I think this was August 2024.
But maybe good for the listeners to understand that at that time you were still working for VC. So
I was working for a venture capital
funding.
fund based out of Amsterdam, Berlin, and Stockholm. And I was hunting down the next big unicorn, so to say. And I jumped in a call with Niek, and I think at the first moment we had a nice click, right? And if you explain what Florbs does, it sounds like a real no-brainer, right? It's like, you're securing your files like that you can't share with wrong intentions and etc. So for me, it was like, okay, I can understand it. And now in the AI era, like everyone is like, I'm creating a new blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, wait, I need to do a lot of research. And here it was like quite easy to understand what they were doing. But if you look under the hood of the car, it's way more complex than you think. So at first, for me, it was an investment opportunity. I liked it. I also liked it was product-led, right? They had 30 enterprise customers, meaning enterprises, big logos, which is not that easy to also get to, which I know from other startups, right? Big logos are very difficult to get because there are a lot of startups trying to pitch. But Niek said, pitching, I just have a product, right? I don't have any sales. We already discussed marketing. Don't have a marketing budget. So I was like, oh, that's quite fascinating, right? It's just product-led.
Yeah.
And then, I pitched within the team, went to Utrecht where where the office was and is. Went there with a colleague, and the missing link was one of the things was there was no commercial lead there. There was no CEO who really was 100% committed and who could also put the dot on the horizon. Okay, we're going to that point, and we need ABCD. And one was, of course, funding to grow the team, to grow the expertise. So after, I think, a 3-week deep dive, and in the VC world, if you do a 3-week deep dive on a company, that's quite a lot of time and effort, right? I called Bart, like the investor companion of Niek at the time. And then I said, Bart, listen up, for this company really to kick off, you need to have someone who's fully dedicated. You have several businesses. That's not going to work. You need to have a person who's 100% dedicated. And if you need my help. I have a lot of buddies who live in Amsterdam who are doing this corporate job in sales and who are like looking for an escape. So give me a call if you like have that light bulb moment where you say, yeah, indeed, I need to have that.
But was it then the call from the VC side, from the company you were representing then, to say at this point we won't invest because this is something we see missing currently in your company?
It's just a complete red flag, right? There's no commercial lead. Yeah. Then it's uninvestable in a way. Yeah, you can hire it, but at the stage where Florbs was back then, right, there was never really outbound sales done. There was never marketing done. So how do you know if it's going to work or if it's just a nice product, right? So, well, and then I think you went to different investors and everyone gave the same.
You told this Tycho, this guy.
This investor guy.
I hate him. He's good, but I hate him.
We pitched, I think, 3-4 times again, and basically the same result. So we called him. And then he jumped in. So,
then 2 weeks later, they called me, and of course, I had a thought about it myself as well. And I've not relevant for the podcast, but I always had side hustles during uni, and then when I was working in strategy consulting, and then when I was working in VC as well, I was always looking at, hey, if the fund is not investing, I'm going to invest, right? So that was also my first hinge. Okay, I'm going to invest with my own friends and have a small angel fund. This might be super interesting. But then there was still this red flag that there was no commercial lead. And during those 2.5 weeks of not having contact with Bart and Niek anymore, and when Bart called me, I had a thought like, this is quite interesting, right? And then Bart gave me a call and he said, and you said you can help me finding that commercial lead or CEO, whatever you want to call it. And I said, I thought about it, but I'm the only friend, like that's me, right? I'm the only guy I can think about. So, and then, they said, we had a hinge and let's start wining and dining together and see whether there's a match, right? And that was mid-October. And then, I think in January formally I joined, but the 6 months before we wined and dined, so to say, right? To see whether there was a match.
You had a nice holiday in South Africa, and we called every day, basically. So
send each other pictures and stuff.
Maybe fast forwarding, maybe I'm messing up the podcast, but it was interesting because in South Africa, I was there partially with my family. And I was already thinking, okay, if we want to grow this, I think they were on the good path to raise capital because they had the first traction. The product was ready to really lift off. But for me, it was like, if I'm going to spend my time on it right now, it needs to be like this kicker, right? It needs to go up exponentially. And for that, we need to have capital. We need to raise capital to do ads, test the market, right? So what's the ICP? Do we need to outbound sales or direct sales or channel sales? All these tests will cost money. So during my holiday in South Africa, I built a pitch, and yes, I'm a strategy consultant by trade, but I'm the worst slide deck and designer, so not that sexy, so to say. And a nice anecdote on that: when I came back, when I flew in early December, Bart, so the former companion of Niek, picked me up from the airport, and I was like unshowered, and we went to an investor call in Utrecht, talking to the first investors, and I was sitting there like didn't sleep at all, and I had to present for the first time I was not even a co-founder or a CEO. We didn't have a formal contract in place, but we pitched, and they also did a bit on us, but that was where I said, guys, come on, if this is the bit, I'm not going to be interested. We're not going to take the money for maybe also a Dutch habit for investors. They always want to go lowballing, right? That's what I'm an investor as well. So if they can get a cheaper deal, they always will go for the cheaper deal. But this was so cheap that I also advised, a company which I was not an owner of yet. But I said, if you're going to do this, I'm out. Right? And that was a start that.
And then it kicked off. Yeah, super nice story. And Tycho, what challenges did you face when you were transitioning from being an investor, like you were on the other side of the table, and now you became CEO of Florbs? And then maybe your first role was also to get that funding across when you were now on board as the commercial and the strategy person. How did that change for you? All of a sudden you're on the other side of the table.
Yeah, I think like what Niek built, what he said, he built a super solid product, which is now we deployed it at massive multinationals, right? So that's, I think, very impressive, and that's completely on Niek and the team. But now the liftoff, right? How do you lift off? As I said before, it's capital, but also the right strategy and the right people. So how do you do that? I think that's for the future. But the first, let's say, quarter was really to get a feeling of not like capital is nice, right? It's nice to have. VCs have a lot of capital, but the right capital is the most difficult part. So who's going to be your partner? So we talked to, with my name still being an investor and not a founder, it was super easy for me to get in touch with all the investors. But also looking at Niek and his way of dealing, I really felt that maybe a VC was not the game yet, right? It was more like, who is a strategic partner? And funny enough, our lead investor, he approached me in early January, and he said, it was just a LinkedIn connection. I said, hey dude, like why the connection? Did you hear anything? It's not yet on my LinkedIn and no one knows yet. Well, some people knew. And he said, no, like you're an investor, I'm an investor. I sold my company, massive success. I just wanted to connect. I said, well, funny enough, I have revamped my pitch deck because that was December to January. And you're going to be the first one I'm sending it to. Is that okay? And I sent it to him, and literally after 2 minutes, I got a reply, you're preaching to the preacher. And I was like, okay, what does that mean, right? Is that positive? Is that negative? So I sent him, I'll take it as a positive. Do you want to schedule a call? And the day after, we were in a call with him, I think for 2 or 3 hours. It was super relaxed, and Niek felt super comfortable, whereas not every, I think, venture capital fund we talk to, but more the aggressive ones. Yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do that. Which maybe I like, right? But it was also like, we're getting married now. We're getting married as well with an investor. So it needs to be a good fit. And that marriage means not that I'm the only one who does a strategy, but Niek is part of the strategy. And these investors are part of the strategy as well. And they're, for now, right, the first month they're in, they really give us that that extra push in the right direction, right? If I now do my first hires, they are involved and they help me. I didn't hire, I helped hiring people in my former jobs, but I didn't hire myself, and it's not my own money, right, which I spent, and now it's super different. And these hires are essential for success to get to that next phase.
Yeah. Now, so I think you decided more to go with angel investors and people really from the industry. So you picked sort of the smart money. Also, one of the previous podcast guests. That's how we actually got in contact. Madi is also an investor. So you really pick people from the industry that have a track record instead of one big VC as an investor. So that's also a good strategy, most likely.
Yeah, like picking the right investor, I think that's underrated, right? Yes, sometimes you just need to have the capital to grow, but for us, it's not the capital, right? Niek funded it together with Bart for the past 3 years. The company did great. We could have gone like this, but that's not the deal, right? We need to have that extra kicker, like Madi, who is a CISO at a large multinational. what do you build, right? How do you build it? And yeah, we can do testing, we can work with agencies. Everything is possible. But having industry expertise within, let's say, your team, because I think investors are in your team, they're on your side. That's that extra step where you're like, oh yeah, and that's the phase we're in right now. Yeah. We have something, we know it, but how do you build it out from being the company we're right now, we're growing quite okay, right? To, hey, it's really kicking in, and all the multinationals need us, which of course I think, right, or that they all need us, but that's my sales side.
It's funny to see because you are two very different characters, and that's always what they say. A good startup needs both characteristics, right? You need the technical founder and the strategic or the commercial founder. And I think looking at the both of you, you're very complementary. But Niek, what I wonder, you went on the journey with Bart, but you also said, okay, we want to give it an extra push. But now these last months, everything has changed. There is like a CEO on board. What? Yeah. I thought I was CEO, so that's one. Yeah. And secondly, all of a sudden there's a lot of money on the bank account. So you guys raised $1 million, and you're doing podcasts, like everybody wants to chat with you. So you're like the hot startup all of a sudden. How is that for you?
Very hectic, chaotic, everything. But most of the things Tycho takes care of, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's, I think I had an idea once. I wanted to create a product, and now it's kicking off. So it feels really good. Yeah.
And you're now in a good situation, I would say, of a very interesting situation. You can scale the team. There's money. There are the right investors on board. Where do you want to go now together?
I think to first answer the other question, the challenge, we have the money, and Niek and I are typical Dutchies, so we're quite conservative in spending money. And I literally asked my investors, help us, right? Help us to, we have a gazillion ideas. Niek is a brilliant developer, so a lot of these ideas we can, let's say, code. But we also need to, and there are a gazillion people who, predominantly agencies, who reach out to you, hey, I want to do this for you, I want to do this for you. But really to spend the money wisely, that's something we're also needing help with on building it out, because now it grows more or less organically with the push of me hiring salespeople who can do it. But $1 million, it's in cyber, it's not that much. But trust me, for us, it's quite a lot, right?
You look at the bank account, all of a sudden, like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, and it's not going down that fast. And that's, I think, with a lot of startups, it's like gone in a blink. And we have a nice cash flow with a team of 5, right? So that's, I think, a unique point we're at.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you guys have sort of a BHAG, like this big, hairy, audacious goal, or like a 5-year plan? What's the dream now? And again, what we discussed in the beginning of the podcast, I think Google might also have you guys now closer on the radar, so that of course could also be a potential buyer in the future. But there's so many options now. I think you guys chat a lot amongst each other. What's next?
Like the dot on the horizon is obviously, right, we're now focusing on Drive and for the automation on Workspace. We will become an integral solution for automation and security within the workforce domain. I think that's the 3-year strategy. And that's a massive attack, right? You're automating all the processes within Workspace, and at the same time, you feel safe and secure. That's, I think, but the dot on the horizon is creating integrations with other collaboration tooling like Miro, Atlassian, the whole SaaS stack of a normal organization, right? And securing that. So really becoming the automation and security provider on your collaboration tooling. That's the ambition there.
And this would become then a more European or perhaps even global solution.
Now, the funny thing is, and again, that's completely on Niek, we have a global approach already, which a lot of investors would say, oh, no, you need to focus. But we don't choose our customers, right? The customers come, again, Florbs, not the most sexy name, but they find us online. And we have customers in Israel, in the US. We got a lot of inbound of Australia, Hong Kong, Pennsylvania was yesterday on the radar, a large school. Finland. We're all over the place. That's also a tricky part, I know. So if we do direct sales, I'm going to be hyper-focused. We have partnership channels. But yeah, the inbound, if they come inbound, I don't care where it comes from at this stage, right? And they are super loyal customers. They pay a year upfront. They take 3-year contracts, which
nice
for the size we are with 5 people, it's sometimes a bit like, okay, yeah, fine, right? Thanks. And it's plug and play. So a lot of these customers from the US and the countries I was talking about before, we only talk to them to get, let's say, hey, how did you find us? But they already used the tool before we get in touch with them. So they just buy the tool from our website.
Incredible. Yeah, super. Interesting journey, gentlemen. And Niek, back to you. You also said, okay, I feel back that I'm back in my strength. I'm back to my CTO role. I can go focus on the product more. Now there's also more cash on the bank, so you're probably also looking to find other brilliant minds that want to go deeper on Google. How important is it to keep developing the product? Because it's a competitive world out there. What do you guys need to do from a technical perspective? Where do you see most opportunity?
The most opportunity is to get in the core process of security, basically. So we're now developing automated security workflows, which is a sticky part in most cases, workflows, because you're really solving a problem which is continue.
Yeah, yes. Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, of course. For example, if you label the classified data as top secret and somebody wants to share it with the link, that's maybe not the best idea. So what we want to do is involve the end employee, so basically the actor who shares the file. We want to send them a message on what you are doing now is against the policy. Are you sure you want to do this? And you have all kind of escalation schemes behind that. So if they don't answer, we remove the link sharing right away, or we escalate it to a security team or something like that. So that's something we are working on, and also AI fraud detection. We need to do something with AI, of course. And a big problem is lookalike domains. So you think you share with your colleague, but instead it's another company. More like hacker accounts, all that kind of stuff.
Is then just the URL is different instead of .com, it's .co, something like this.
Yeah, and it happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, I would love to keep you guys under the radar as well, and or on the radar, and just see how this journey is gonna play out during the next years. But I think it's impressive. And what I wanted to ask, maybe starting with you, Niek, but you worked for a Google partner, but then you were an employee. Now you took the leap of faith a couple of years ago to become an entrepreneur. Yeah. What did that bring you so far these last years?
Less sleep. No, I don't know. I feel empowered. You have the ability to create whatever you want. I really enjoy customers being happy with our product, and managing people. All kind of facets of building a company. Basically, it's much more bigger than being an employee.
And would you recommend it to other young or older cybersecurity professionals to take the leap of faith?
Not sure. It depends on who you are. You need to be. Well, I'm a bit of an introvert myself. That can make it hard. So you need to step up and be ready for that. It's you have a lot of positive noises, but also critical ones. Yeah, you just need to be standing on your feet, basically. So you need to be there, and
It's a balance.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think you have also come to a point that you know yourself.
Yeah.
So you're an engineer. You like to dive into problems and find solutions. And by going the route to finding a CEO who has skills different from you, and what you're doing, Tycho cannot do at all, and vice versa. That's also okay. So I think that's also for entrepreneurs to see, okay, what are my skills?
Yeah, definitely.
And what can I seek in other people? And I think you took a brave step to join forces. Yeah. So you don't have to do it on your own. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I said before, I'm really happy with where we stand right now. So you have a partner you can discuss with and get the best ideas. That's really helpful. Yeah. So I think if you start a company, don't start it alone. Always have a co-founder. I think that's my learning here.
Nice advice. Yeah. And Tycho, from you were an investor on the other side of the table. Now you're CTO of a cybersecurity startup. What are your first ideas when really stepping into the cybersecurity world? What is it like? What were the likes and what are the surprises?
Yeah, I think the sector is not for me the scary part. With cybersecurity, you need to be 100% right, or it's wrong, right? There's nothing in between. You can't do 50% because it's security. You can't have a bouncer at a club who allows 50% of the people in who are not allowed, right? I think that's for me. I'm more. That's why we're complete opposites. I'm more the guy who goes, "Let's go, right? Let's go." And my first real pitch, apart from the one when I was picked up at the airport from South Africa, my first real pitch to our current investors were at one of the very successful founders of one of our investors, and he had a boardroom filled with CISOs, and I had to do the pitch, and I explained how I think the product looks like, right? So I was explaining something about how you could see on a map where the file was shared from and how that's how the links were. And then
location-based, basically.
Location-based. Yeah. And then we were sitting in the car back to Amsterdam, and Niek said to me, "Yeah, it's quite brilliant, but we really can't do that yet," right? So that's where I'm overselling sometimes, but at the same time learning a lot from Niek what we can do. And that's the weird thing. For me, it's right. I became CEO and co-founder of a company which is already existent. But yeah, we are in that way a super good match where I am running and running. And then sometimes Niek says, okay, come back. Right, come back. Yeah. And then I go again. And sometimes it comes with some friction. But yeah, you need to have friction. And it sounds all glamorous, but Niek joked around, no sleep. It's no sleep. I put in a contract that my hair transplantation is in because that's not beneficial at all.
Company expense.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but it has been a hell of a ride so far, and but very brief hell of a ride. So really looking forward to the journey ahead.
Yeah, I think the future is bright, gentlemen. It's really nice to seeing two different characters working on this, and I think the product is super cool. I would recommend people to check it out. And what I also hear a lot in the industry is just people using a cloud environment and then just thinking, okay, then we're secure. It's like we put it in Azure, we put it in Google, okay, we're done. But that's really not how it works, of course. So I think that you find this add-ons to make it more effective and more secure. I think that's great. So I'm very curious to see what the future holds in store for Florbs. And I would like to finalize this interview with the same question we ask all our guests. And I think it's nice to address it to Niek. But we have the following question. If you could send one signal message to all the CISOs across the world, what would this one signal message be?
Don't block everything. So if you have data classification and you label something top secret, often everything gets blocked because of that label. But if you do that, employees just want to do their work. So they find a way to share that file, even take a photo with their phone or something, just to do their job. So it's better to know what is going on with that file than block everything, and people will find a way to share it.
Yeah. So then they do the stupid stuff, basically.
Yeah. And you have no control anymore.
Yeah, smart. It's like raising children. It's better if they drink some beers or smoke a joint. And when you can still supervise, then
Exactly.
Then they do it outside in a stupid way.
You had nice parents. I can tell.
Very true. Thanks, Mom and Dad. No, super. Thanks, gentlemen. It was a real pleasure, and all the best.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
Love it. Thanks. Thanks for listening to this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay safe, stay curious, and until next time in the district.